Now, the one thing that a lot of fans out there, including myself, am very concerned about when it comes to this movie is how J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio are introducing a total of 8 new characters in this story that may or may not actually take a lot of screen time away from the major characters. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one thing I will say about Episode 9, there are a total of 3 new characters that I'm very interested in when it comes to this movie. That is, of course, Keri's character, Matt Smith's character, and of course Richard E. Grant's. Now, Richard E. Grant's character is going to be associated with the First Order. He's going to be more around the lines of a Tarkin figure in Episode 9. But as far as Keri's character goes, she is codenamed Mara/Kreia, and a lot of people are trying to really figure out exactly what her role will be in this movie. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art, and storyboard descriptions, etc. One of which has all to do with a scene that was shot between both Mark Hamill, Adam Driver, and Keri Russell. Now, specifically, it's described that Mark Hamill shot a sequence with Keri Russell and Adam Driver. It's described that they shot a scene in which he and Keri were hugging each other, where it's described that Hamill was instructed to shed a tear or two. It's described that both Hamill and Keri were on the set of what was described to be the interior of a Jedi temple. Additionally, Hamill shot a sequence in which he was covered by a pile of wood, with Keri's character on the ground with Adam pointing a blue lightsaber at her and grabbing her hand and taking her on board of a ship set piece. It's described to be a moment in which Luke feels betrayed either by Kylo, Mara, or perhaps even both. It's described that additionally this will serve as a visual representation of Kylo slaughtering Luke's Jedi while he is under the rubble. So I want to go over a couple of parts about this, as I'm really trying to figure out on whether or not Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker and Keri Russell as this new Mara character is going to really be the Mara and Luke that we all know and love in the EU/Legends material. So with that being said, we do know that this movie has a lot going for it when it comes to some of the new characters like Luke, Mara, Kylo, etc. All of these characters interacting with each other. So I really want to go over as to this whole entire sequence involving Mark Hamill and Keri Russell actually having a hugging sequence on the set of a Jedi temple in which Mark Hamill was instructed to shed a tear or two. Now, this to me sounds like either A, they are just very close friends, or B, they could very well be pretty much, in a relationship or maybe even married to each other for all we know. Now, if you guys have followed the EU, you will know that at some point in time, both Luke and Mara do get married in that story. So now going into Episode 9, I do find it very interesting as to why Disney and Lucasfilm would give her 2 different code names, being Mara and Kreia. Now, Kreia, I believe, is going to be her new name when she's associated with the Knights of Ren. That's just what I have to say. It could be something around the lines of Kreia Ren, for all we know. Now, the character of Mara being on set of a Jedi temple of sorts, the interior of a temple with Mark Hamill, where Hamill was actually hugging her and shedding a tear, this could honestly be anything for all we know. This could be Luke Skywalker expressing what he felt in his nephew, after he dug into his mind and saw what he was about to do. Or this could have something to do with something a bit more different. For all we know, maybe this has some kind of connection to Rey if they really want to do something that extreme. Even though I feel that may be a little bit outlandish, there's still a possibility that there is a connection between Keri, Mark Hamill, and of course Daisy Ridley and their characters in this movie. Now, the next thing that I do want to go over is the extension of the slaughter of Luke's new generation of Jedi in front of his Jedi temple, in which Mark Hamill was under a piece of rubble of wood, of course, where he's witnessing the slaughter of his new generation of Jedi, where the character of Mara is taken by Kylo Ren while he's pointing a blue lightsaber at her, taking her on board of this new ship design set piece that eventually takes off and leaves the atmosphere of whatever world this really is. So this to me sounds like that JJ's really trying to show, what kind of hell Luke Skywalker really went through, leading up to the events of course, The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. Abrams and crew for that sequence that would eventually lead to a sequence in which Mark is under a pile of wood/rubble, witnessing the slaughter of his new generation of Jedi, and Mara basically being abducted by Kylo Ren and the other Jedi that are actually sided with Kylo at the time on board of that ship. Now, for all we know, Mara is either A, going to be an undercover Knight of Ren, or B, is indeed going to be fully embraced to the dark side of the Force. Now, the great thing about the Knights of Ren that we actually learned about a couple of days ago is that only some of the Knights of Ren are Force sensitive, where the others are not. So that's where things begin to get a little interesting now, right? Exactly how many Jedi survived Luke's Jedi Academy from Kylo Ren? How many of them did Kylo Ren take? That's a big question open on the table for discussion. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.